The 10th book of Homer's Iliads. The argument. The Atrides, watching, wait the other peers, and in the fort consulting of their fears, 2 kings they send, most stout and honored most, for royal scouts into the Trojan host, who, meeting Dolon, Hector's bribed spy, take him and learn how all the quarters lie. He told them in the Thracian regiment of rich King Rhesus and his royal tent, striving for safety, but they end his strife, and rid poor Dolon of a dangerous life. Then with digressive wiles they use their force on Rhesus's life, and take his snowy horse. Another argument. Kappa. The night exploits applies, Rhesus's and Dolon's tragedies. The other princes at their ships soft-fingered sleep did bind, but not the general. Somnus silks bound not his laboring mind, that turned and returned many thoughts, and as quick lightnings fly from well-decked Juno's sovereign, out of the thickened sky, preparing some exceeding rain or hail, the fruit of cold, or down like snow that suddenly makes all the fields look old, or opes the gulfy mouth of war with his ensulfured hand, in dazzling flashes poured from clouds on any punished land. So from Atrides' troubled heart, through his dark sorrows, flew redoubled sighs, his entrails shook, as often as his view admired the multitude of fires that gilt the Phrygian shade, and heard the sounds of fifes and shawms, and tumults soldiers made. But when he saw his fleet and host kneel to his care and love, he rent his hair up by the roots as sacrifice to Jove, burnt in his fiery sighs, still breathed out of his royal heart, and first thought good to Nestor's care his sorrows to impart, to try if royal diligence with his approved advice might fashion counsels to prevent their threatened miseries. So up he rose, attired himself, and to his strong feet tied rich shoes, and cast upon his back a ruddy lion's hide, so ample it his ankles reached, then took his royal spear. Like him was Menelaus pierced with an industrious fear, nor sat sweet slumber on his eyes, lest bitter fate should quite the Greeks' high favours, that for him resolved such endless fight. And first a freckled panther's hide hid his broad back athwart, his head his brazen helm did arm, his able hand his dart. Then made he all his haste to raise his brother's head as rare, that he who most excelled in rule might help to effect his care. He found him at his ship's crooked stern, adorning him with arms, who joyed to see his brother's spirits awaked without alarms, well weighing the importance of the time. And first the younger spake, Why, brother, are ye arming thus? Is it to undertake the sending of some venturous Greek to explore the foe's intent? Alas, I greatly fear not one will give that work consent, exposed alone to all the fears that flow in gloomy night. He that doth this must know death well, in which ends every fright. Brother, said he, in these affairs we both must use advice. Jove is against us, and accepts great Hector's sacrifice. For I have never seen nor heard in one day, and by one, so many high attempts well urged as Hector's power hath done, against the hapless sons of Greece, being chiefly dear to Jove, and without cause, being neither fruit of any goddess's love, nor helpful God, and yet I fear the deepness of his hand, ere it be raised out of our thoughts, will many years withstand. But, brother, hie thee to thy ships, and Idomen's disease with warlike Ajax. I will haste to grave Neleides, exhorting him to rise, and give the sacred watch command, for they will specially embrace incitement at his hand. And now his son their captain is, and Idomen's good friend, bold Merion, to whose discharge we did that charge commend. Command'st thou then, his brother asked, that I shall tarry here, attending thy resolved approach, or else the message bear, and quickly make return to thee? He answered, Rather stay, lest otherwise we fail to meet, for many a different way lies through our labyrinthian host. Speak ever as you go, command strong watch, from sire to son urge all to observe the foe, familiarly and with their praise, exciting every eye, not with unseasoned violence of proud authority. We must our patience exercise, and work ourselves with them. Jove in our births combined such care to either's diadem. Thus he dismissed him, knowing well his charge before he went. Himself to Nestor, whom he found in bed within his tent, by him his damask curates hung, his shield a pair of darts, his shining casque, his arming waist. In these he led the hearts of his apt soldiers to sharp war, not yielding to his years. He quickly started from his bed, when to his watchful ears untimely feet told some approach. He took his lance in hand, and spake to him, Oh, what art thou that walk'st at midnight? Stand, is any wanting at the guards, or lack'st thou any peer? Speak, come not silent towards me, say, what intendest thou here? He answered, O Neleides, grave honour of our host, 'tis Agamemnon thou mayest know, whom Jove afflicteth most, of all the wretched men that live, and will, whilst any breath gives motion to my toiled limbs, and bears me up from death. I walk the round thus, since sweet sleep cannot enclose mine eyes, nor shut those organs care breaks ope for our calamities. My fear is vehement for the Greeks, my heart the fount of heat, with his extreme effects made cold, without my breast doth beat. And therefore are my sinews strook with trembling every part, of what my friends may feel hath act in my dispersed heart. But if thou think'st of any course may to our good redound, since neither thou thyself canst sleep, come walk with me the round, in way whereof we may confer, and look to every guard, lest watching long and weariness with labouring so hard drown their oppressed memories of what they have in charge. The liberty we give the foe, alas, is overlarge. Their camp is almost mixed with ours, and we have forth no spies to learn their drifts, who may perchance this night intend surprise. Grave Nestor answered, Worthy king, let good hearts bear our ill. Jove is not bound to perfect all this busy Hector's will, but I am confidently given his thoughts are much dismayed, with fear lest our distress incite Achilles to our aid, and therefore will not tempt his fate, nor ours with further pride. But I will gladly follow thee, and stir up more beside. Tydides, famous for his lance, Ulysses, Telamon, and bold Phyleus' valiant heir, or else, if any one would haste to call King Idomen and Ajax, since their sail lies so removed with much good speed, it might our haste avail. But though he be our honoured friend, thy brother I will blame, not fearing if I anger thee. It is his utter shame he should commit all pains to thee, that should himself employ, past all our princes, in the care and cure of our annoy, and be so far from needing spurs to these his due respects, he should apply our spirits himself with prayers and urged effects. Necessity, a law to laws, and not to be endured, makes proof of all his faculties, not sound if not inured. Good father, said the king, sometimes you know I have desired you would improve his negligence, too oft to ease retired. Nor is it for defect of spirit, or compass of his brain, but with observing my estate, he thinks he should abstain, till I commanded, knowing my place unwilling to assume, for being my brother anything might prove he did presume. But now he rose before me far, and came to avoid delays, and I have sent him for the men yourself desired to raise. Come, we shall find them at the guards we placed before the fort, for thither my direction was they should with speed resort. Why now, said Nestor, none will grudge, nor his just rule withstand. Examples make excitement strong, and sweeten a command. Thus put he on his arming truss, fair shoes upon his feet, about him a mandilion that did with buttons meet, of purple large and full of folds, curled with a warmful nap, a garment that 'gainst cold in nights did soldiers use to wrap. Then took he his strong lance in hand, made sharp with proved steel, and went along the Grecian fleet, first at Ulysses' keel. He called to break the silken fumes that did his senses bind. The voice through the organs of his ears straight rung about his mind. Forth came Ulysses asking him, Why stir ye thus so late? Sustain we such enforcive cause? He answered, Our estate doth force this perturbation. Vouchsafe it, worthy friend, and come, let us excite one more to counsel of some end, to our extremes by fight or flight. He backed and took his shield, and both took course to Diomed. They found him laid in field, far from his tent, his armor by. About him was dispread a ring of soldiers, every man his shield beneath his head. His spear fixed by him as he slept, the great end in the ground. The point that bristled the dark earth cast a reflection round. Like pallid lightnings thrown from Jove, thus this hero lay, and under him a big ox-hide, his royal head had stay on arras hangings, rolled up, whereon he slept so fast, that Nestor stirred him with his foot, and chid to see him cast, in such deep sleep, in such deep woes, and asked him why he spent all night in sleep, or did not hear the Trojans near his tent. Their camp drawn close upon their dike, small space twixt foes and foes. He starting up said, Strange old man, that never takes repose, thou art too patient of our toil. Have we not men more young, to be employed from king to king? Thine age hath too much wrong. Said, Like a king, replied the sire, for I have sons renowned, and there are many other men might go this toilsome round. But you must see, imperious need hath all at her command. Now on the eager razor's edge, for life or death we stand. Then go, thou art the younger man, and if thou love my ease, call swift-foot Ajax up thyself, and young Philaides. This said, he on his shoulders cast a yellow lion's hide, big and reached earth, then took his spear, and Nestor's will applied. Raised the heroes, brought them both, all met, the round they went, and found not any captain there asleep or negligent, but waking and in arms gave ear to every lowest sound. And as keen dogs keep sheep in cotes, or folds of hurdles bound, and grin at every breach of air, envious of all that moves, still listening when the ravenous beast stalks through the hilly groves. Then men and dogs stand on their guards, and mighty tumults make. Sleep wanting wait to close one wink, so did the captains wake, that kept the watch the whole sad night, all with intent of ear, converted to the enemy's tents, that they might timely hear, if they were stirring to surprise, which Nestor joyed to see. Why so, dear sons, maintain your watch, sleep not a wink, said he, rather than make your fames the scorn of Trojan perjury. This said, he foremost passed the dike, the others seconded, even all the kings that had been called to counsel from the bed. And with them went Meriones, and Nestor's famous son, for both were called by all the kings to consultation. Beyond the dike they choosed a place, near as they could from blood, where yet appeared the falls of some, and whence the crimson flood of Grecian lives being poured on earth by Hector's furious chase. He made retreat when night repoured her grim darkness in his face. There sat they down, and Nestor spake, O friends, remains not one that will rely on his bold mind, and view the camp alone of the proud Trojans, to approve if any straggling mate he can surprise near the utmost tents, or learn the briefest state of their intentions for the time, and mix like one of them with their outguards, expiscating if the renowned extreme they force on us will serve their terms, with glory to retire, or still encamp thus far from Troy. This may he well inquire, and make a brave retreat untouched, and this would win him fame, of all men canopied with heaven, and every man of name in all this host shall honor him with an enriching meed. A black ewe and her suckling lamb, rewards that now exceed all other best possessions in all men's choice requests, and still be bidden by our kings to kind and royal feasts. All reverenced one another's worth, and none would silence break, lest worst should take the best place of speech. At last did Diomed speak. Nestor, thou asked if no man here have heart so well inclined to work this stratagem on Troy. Yes, I have such a mind. Yet if some other prince would join, more probable will be the strength and hope of our exploit. Two may together see, one going before another still, sly danger every way. One spirit upon another works, and takes with firmer stay the benefit of all his powers, for though one knew his course, yet might he well distrust himself, which the other might enforce. This offer every man assumed, all would with Diomed go, the two Ajaces, Merion, and Menelaus too. But Nestor's son enforced it much, and hardy Ithacus, who had to every venturous deed a mind as venturous. Amongst all these thus spake the king: Tydides, most beloved, choose thy associate worthily, a man the most approved, for use and strength in these extremes. Many thou seest stand forth, but choose not thou by height of place, but by regard of worth, lest with thy nice respect of right to any man's degree, thou wrong'st thy venture, choosing one least fit to join with thee, although perhaps a greater king. This spake he with suspect that Diomed for honour's sake his brother would select. Then said Tydides, since thou givest my judgment leave to choose, how can it so much truth forget Ulysses to refuse, that bears a mind so most exempt and vigorous in the effect of all high labours, and a man Pallas doth most respect? We shall return through burning fire, if I with him combine. He sets strength in so true a course, with counsels so divine. Ulysses, loth to be esteemed a lover of his praise, with such exceptions humbled him as did him higher raise, and said, Tydides, praise me not more than free truth will bear, nor yet impair me. There are Greeks that give judicial ear. But come, the morning hastes, the stars are forward in their course, 2 parts of night are past, the third is left to employ our force. Now borrowed they for haste some arms. Bold Thracimedes lent adventurous Diomed his sword, his own was at his tent, his shield and helm tough and well tanned, without a plume or crest, and called a murion, archers' heads it used to invest. Meriones lent Ithacus his quiver and his bow, his helmet fashioned of a hide, the workman did bestow much labour in it, quilting it with bowstrings, and without, with snowy tusks of white-mouthed boars, 'twas armed round about, right cunningly, and in the midst an arming cap was placed, that with the fixed ends of the tusks his head might not be raised. This long since by Autolycus was brought from Iliad, when he laid waste Ammintor's house, that was Ormenus' son. In Scandia to Cythereus, surnamed Amphidamus, Autolycus did give this helm. He, when he feasted was, by honoured Molus gave it him, of present of a guest. Molus to his son Merion did make it his bequest. With this Ulysses armed his head, and thus they both addressed took leave of all the other kings, to them a glad ostent. As they were entering on their way, Minerva did present a hernshaw consecrate to her, which they could ill discern through sable night, but by her clang they knew it was a hern. Ulysses joyed, and thus invoked, "Hear me, great seed of Jove, that ever dost my labours grace with presence of thy love, and all my motions dost attend. Still love me, sacred dame, especially in this exploit, and so protect our fame, we both may safely make retreat, and thriftily employ our boldness in some great affair baneful to them of Troy." Then prayed illustrate Diomed, "Vouchsafe me likewise ear, O thou unconquered queen of arms, be with thy favours near, as to my royal father's steps thou went'st a bounteous guide, when the archives and the peers of Thebes he would have pacified, sent as the Greeks' ambassador, and left them at the flood of great Aesopus, whose retreat thou madest to swim in blood of his enambushed enemies. And if thou so protect my bold endeavours, to thy name an heifer most select, that never yet was tamed with yoke, broad-fronted, 1 year old, I'll burn in zealous sacrifice, and set the horns in gold." The goddess heard, and both the kings their dreadless passage bore through slaughtered carcasses, arms, and discoloured gore. Nor Hector let his princes sleep, but all to council called, and asked, "What one is here will vow, and keep it unappalled, to have a gift fit for his deed, a chariot and 2 horse, that pass for speed the rest of Greece? What one dares take this course, for his renown besides his gifts, to mix amongst the foe, and learn if they still hold their guards, or with this overthrow determine flight, as being too weak to hold us longer war?" All silent stood. At last stood forth one Dolon, that did dare this dangerous work, Diomedes' heir, a herald much renowned. This Dolon did in gold and brass exceedingly abound, but in his form was quite deformed, yet passing swift to run. Amongst 5 sisters he was left Eumedes' only son, and he told Hector his free heart would undertake to explore the Greeks' intentions. "But," said he, "thou shalt be sworn before, by this thy sceptre, that the horse of great Aeacides, and his strong chariot bound with brass, thou wilt, before all these, resign me as my valour's prize, and so I rest unmoved to be thy spy, and not return before I have approved, by venturing to Atrides' ship, where their consults are held, if they resolve still to resist, or fly as quite expelled." He put his sceptre in his hand, and called the thunder's god, Saturnia's husband, to his oath. Those horse should not be rode by any other man than he, but he forever joy, to his renown, their services, for his good done to Troy. Thus swore he, and forswore himself, yet made base Dolon bold, who on his shoulder hung his bow, and did about him fold a white wolf's hide, and with a helm of weasel's skins did arm his weasel's head, then took his dart, and never turned to harm the Greeks with their related drifts, but being past the troops of horse and foot, he promptly runs, and as he runs he stoops to undermine Achilles' horse. Ulysses straight did see, and said to Diomed, "This man makes footing towards thee, out of the tents. I know not well if he be used as spy, bent to our fleet, or come to rob the slaughtered enemy. But let us suffer him to come a little further on, and then pursue him, if it chance that we be overgone by his more swiftness. Urge him still to run upon our fleet, and lest he scape us to the town, still let thy javelin meet with all his offers of retreat." Thus stepped they from the plain, amongst the slaughtered carcasses. Dolon came on amain, suspecting nothing, but once past, as far as mules outdraw oxen at plough, being both put on, neither admitted law, to plough a deep-soiled furrow forth, so far was Dolon past. Then they pursued, which he perceived, and stayed his speedless haste, subtly supposing Hector sent to countermand his spy. But in a javelin's throw or less he knew them enemy. Then laid he on his nimble knees, and they pursued like wind, as when a brace of greyhounds are laid in with hare and hind, close-mouthed and skilled to make the best of their industrious course, serve either's turn, and, set on hard, lose neither ground nor force. So constantly did Tydeus' son and his town-raising peer pursue this spy, still turning him, as he was winding near his covert, till he almost mixed with their outcourts of guard. Then Pallas prompted Diomed, lest his due worth's reward should be impaired, if any man did vaunt he first did sheath his sword in him, and he be called but second in his death. Then spake he, threatening with his lance, Or stay, or this comes on, and long thou canst not run before thou be by death outgone. This said, he threw his javelin forth, which missed as Diomed would. Above his right arm making way, the pile stuck in the mould. He stayed and trembled, and his teeth did chatter in his head. They came in blowing, seized him fast, he, weeping, offered a wealthy ransom for his life, and told them he had brass, much gold and iron, that fit for use in many labours was, from whose rich heaps his father would a wondrous portion give, if at the great Achaean fleet he heard his son did live. Ulysses bade him cheer his heart. Think not of death, said he, but tell us true, why runn'st thou forth when others sleeping be? Is it to spoil the carcasses, or art thou choicely sent to explore our drifts, or of thyself seek'st thou some wished event? He trembling answered, Much reward did Hector's oath propose, and urge me much against my will to endeavour to disclose, if you determined still to stay, or bent your course for flight, as all dismayed with your late foil, and wearied with the fight. For which exploit Pelides' horse and chariot he did swear, I only ever should enjoy. Ulysses smiled to hear. So base a swain have any hope so high a prize to aspire, and said his labours did effect a great and precious hire, and that the horse Pelides reigned no mortal hand could use, but he himself, whose matchless life a goddess did produce. But tell us, and report but truth, where left'st thou Hector now? Where are his arms, his famous horse? On whom doth he bestow the watch's charge? Where sleep the kings? Intend they still to lie thus near encamped, or turn sufficed with their late victory? All this, said he, I'll tell most true. At Ilus' monument Hector with all our princes sits, to advise of this event. Who choose that place remove to shun the rude confused sounds the common soldiers throw about, but for our watch and rounds, whereof, brave lord, thou mak'st demand, none orderly we keep. The Trojans that have roofs to save only abandon sleep, and privately without command each other they exhort to make prevention of the worst, and in this slender sort is watch and guard maintained with us. The auxiliary bands sleep soundly, and commit their cares into the Trojan hands, for they have neither wives with them, nor children to protect. The less they need to care, the more they succour dull neglect. But tell me, said wise Ithacus, are all these foreign powers appointed quarters by themselves, or else commixed with yours? And this, said Dolon, too, my lords, I'll seriously unfold. The peons with the crooked bows, and Cares quarters hold next to the sea, the Leleges and Caucons join with them, and brave Pelagians. Thymber's mead, removed more from the stream, is quarter to the Lycians, the lofty Mysian force, the Phrygians and the Meonians, that fight with armed horse. But what need these particulars, if ye intend surprise of any in our Trojan camps? The Thracian quarter lies utmost of all, and uncommixed with Trojan regiments, that keep the voluntary watch. new pitched are all their tents. King Rhesus, Ioneus' son, commands them, who hath steeds more white than snow, huge and well-shaped. Their fiery pace exceeds the winds in swiftness. These I saw, his chariot is with gold, and pallid silver richly framed, and wondrous to behold. His great and golden armor is not fit a man should wear, but for a mortal shoulders framed. Come then, and quickly bear your happy prisoner to your fleet, or leave him here fast bound, till your well-urged and rich return prove my relation sound. Tydides dreadfully replied, Think not of passage thus, though of right acceptable news thou hast advertised us. Our hands are holds more strict than so, and should we set thee free, for offered ransom for this scape, thou still wouldst scouting be about our ships, or do us scathe in plain opposed arms. But if I take thy life, no way can we repeat thy harms. With this, as Dolon reached his hand to use a suppliant's part, and stroke the beard of Diomed, he strook his neck athwart with his forced sword, and both the nerves he did in sunder wound, and suddenly his head deceived fell speaking on the ground. His weasel's helm they took, his bow, his wolfskin, and his lance, which to Minerva Ithacus did zealously advance, with lifted arm into the air, and to her thus he spake, Goddess, triumph in thine own spoils, to thee we first will make our invocations, of all powers throned on the Olympian hill. Now to the Thracians and their horse and beds conduct us still. With this he hung them up aloft upon a tamarick bough, as eyeful trophies, and the sprigs that did about it grow he proined from the leafy arms to make it easier viewed, when they should hastily retire, and be perhaps pursued. Forth went they through black blood and arms, and presently aspired the guardless Thracian regiment, fast bound with sleep and tired. Their arms lay by, and tripled ranks they as they slept did keep, as they should watch and guard their king, who in a fatal sleep lay in the midst. Their chariot horse, as they coach fellows were, fed by them, and the famous steeds that did their general bear, stood next him to the hinder part of his rich chariot tied. Ulysses saw them first and said, Tydides, I have spied the horse that Dolon, whom we slew, assured us we should see. Now use thy strength, now idle arms are most unfit for thee. Prize thou the horse, or kill the guard, and leave the horse to me. Minerva, with the azure eyes, breathed strength into her king, who filled the tent with mixed death. The souls he set on wing issued in groans and made air swell into her stormy flood. Horror and slaughter had one power, the earth did blush with blood. As when a hungry lion flies, with purpose to devour, on flocks unkept, and on their lives doth freely use his power, so Tydeus' son assailed the foe, 12 souls before him flew. Ulysses waited on his sword, and ever as he slew, he drew them by their strengthless heels out of the horse's sight, that when he was to lead them forth, they should not with affright boggle or snore in treading on the bloody carcasses. For being new-come, they were unused to such stern sights as these. Through 4 ranks now did Diomed the king himself attain, who snoring in his sweetest sleep was like his soldiers slain. An ill dream by Minerva sent that night stood by his head, which was Enides royal, unconquered Diomed. Meanwhile Ulysses loosed his horse, took all their reins in hand, and led them forth, but Tydeus' son did in contention stand, with his great mind to do some deed of more audacity, if he should take the chariot where his rich arms did lie, and draw it by the beam away, or bear it on his back, or if of more dull Thracian lives he should their bosoms sack. In this contention with himself Minerva did suggest, and bade him think of his retreat, lest from their tempted rest some other god should stir the foe, and send him back dismayed. He knew the voice, took horse and fled. The Trojans' heavenly aid, Apollo with the silver bow, stood no blind sentinel to their secure and drowsy host, but did discover well Minerva following Diomed, and angry with his act, the mighty host of Ilion he entered, and awaked the cousin German of the king, a counsellor of Thrace, Hippocoon, who then he rose, and saw the desert place, where Rhesus's horse did used to stand, and the other dismal harms, men struggling with the pangs of death, he shrieked out thick alarms, called, Rhesus, Rhesus, but in vain. Then still, arm, arm, he cried. The noise and tumult was extreme on every startled side of Troy's huge host, from whence in throngs all gathered and admire, who could perform such harmful facts, and yet be safe retired. Now, coming where they slew the scout, Ulysses stayed the steeds. Tydides lighted, and the spoils hung on the tamarick reeds, he took and gave to Ithacus, and up he got again. Then flew they joyful to their fleet. Nestor did first attain the sounds of horse hoofs struck through air, and said, My royal peers, do I but dote, or say I true? Methinks about mine ears the sounds of running horses beat. O would to God they were our friends, thus soon return with spoils, but I have hearty fear, lest this high tumult of the foe doth their distress intend. He scarce had spoke, when they were come, both did from horse descend, all with embraces and sweet words to heaven their worth did raise. Then Nestor spake, Great Ithacus, even heaped with Grecian praise, how have you made these horse your prize? Pierced you the dangerous host, where such gems stand? Or did some god your high attempts accost, and honored you with this reward? Why, they be like the rays the sun effuseth. I have mixed with Trojans all my days, and now I hope you will not say I always lie aboard. Though an old soldier I confessed, yet did all Troy afford never the like to any sense that ever I possessed. But some good god no doubt hath met, and your high valours blessed. For he that shadows heaven with clouds loves both as his delights, and she that supples earth with blood cannot forbear your sights. Ulysses answered, Honoured sire, the willing gods can give horse much more worth than these men yield, since in more power they live. These horse are of the Thracian breed, the king Tydides slew, and 12 of his most trusted guard, and of that meaner crew, a scout for 13th man we killed, whom Hector sent to spy the whole estate of our designs, if bent to fight or fly. Thus, followed with whole troops of friends, they with applauses passed the spacious dike, and in the tent of Diomed they placed the horse without contention, as his deservings meed, which with his other horse set up on yellow wheat did feed. Poor Dolon's spoils Ulysses had, who shrined them on his stern, as trophies vowed to her that sent the good aboding Herne. Then entered they the Myrmane sea, to cleanse their honoured sweat from off their feet, their thighs and necks, and when their vehement heat was calmed, and their swollen hearts refreshed, more curious baths they used, where odorous and dissolving oils they through their limbs diffused. Then taking breakfast, a big bowl filled with the purest wine, they offered to the maiden queen that hath the azure eyne. End of the 10th book.